Desk Ladyada.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a Sunday night Desk of Ladyada. Thanks for tuning in with us. It's me, Ladyada, at my desk, which is piled high with electronic components and goodies. We got some mailbag, we got some new products coming out. We got actually a triple-decker episode because it's going to be Desk of Ladyada, followed by The Great Search, followed by INMPI, because last week we didn't have a video. But let's kick it off with Mr. Ladyada.
Yeah, got a couple odds and ends.
Tell us odds and ends.
Shows will be normal this week. Tuesday, we've got Product Pick of the Week with JP. Wednesday, we have 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro. We have Show and Tell, 7:30 on Wednesday. We have Ask an Engineer at 8 p.m. Thursday, JP's Workshop. And Friday, we have Deep Dive with Foamy Guy, who's standing in for Scott while Scott's on paternity leave. A bit of housekeeping thing. Thank you, everyone who sent some good feedback and also was appreciative of one of the things that we tried to do. We had to course correct a little bit. We did a blog post that said, hey, some accounts from a few years ago, there might have been a private repo that went public. We don't think anyone saw it, but we wanted to get the word out just in case. And lesson learned, we're going to send out emails if we ever do that at the same time as our public post and our video disclosures and everything else at the same time.
It happened one business day later.
One business day later. And what I learned was you have to have a communication plan for Twitter that's different than your blog, that's different than how you do things on a live video show, in a chat, how you do things on Discord. So anyways, thank you, everyone. Like we said before in our blog post, we don't think any data got out there at all whatsoever. And usually companies don't even disclose something like this. We decided to anyways. And then we alerted any accounts during that time that may have been exposed. Again, we don't think any were at all. But thank you, everyone who was nice. And even the folks that, kind of punched a little bit on Twitter. I know what the intent was. Appreciate it anyways.
Well, we learned from our
mistakes. Lessons were learned.
Lessons are learned, and that's actually what Desk Lady is all about. I mean, I made a mistake on a design this week, and I'll tell you all about it. And maybe you'll learn from my mistake. Yeah,
what I learned is there's like two different types of companies: companies that make mistakes and hide them, and then companies. And so I like to say we're a company because there is mistakes that we make, and we're totally okay showing our work, and hopefully folks can learn from us. And also, I put my offer out there. If anyone ever has to do any type of data disclosure or anything, email me pt@adafruit.com, and I'll tell you lessons learned, what we did with our legal experts, what we would do different, and a lot of it just had to do with timing, because we're always publishing everything, always constantly, everywhere. And I don't mind sharing thoughts with all that because I didn't have really resources in the same way. So what do you want to show off first this week?
Well, first off, let's do a little bit of mailbag. We got our Flipper Zero today, which is a really cool, like, multi-tool. I call it like a mammalian hardware hacking tool. This is really neat. We backed this on crowdfunding. It came in. It's this kind of adorable orange and white shape. It's not square, which I like. It's a kind of funky shape. There's a lot of GPIO available. You can just
it's like the most cyberpunkiest electronic.
It's super cyberpunk. It's got IR windows, so you can feed it IR. It looks like there's some sort of probe clip add-on. USB-C port here for charging, because as you can see, it's battery charge. Micro SD slot. And there's this character, the Flipper, which is a dolphin. And it's got all sorts of tools and things it can do. So it can act as a bad USB. It can act as an I button. You can do GPIO hacking, infrared, NFC. I just thought I'd show a quick demo of NFC reading.
Yeah, good.
You can also clone, and I didn't set up the whole thing to have it do the cloning and then prove the cloning, but let's show this off. So let's read a card. So it's got these adorable animations. I just love it. I think it's all the little details that they put in. It's like anyone can make kind of a blue square, and believe me, I make blue squares, but I really think that.
Yeah, I just like the doll's concentrating. That's cool.
I'm thinking so hard.
All right.
So I've got a standard, my fair tag here.
Yeah.
Put it underneath.
Bleep, bleep.
And it identifies it.
Oh, wow.
It tells you the UID, and then you can emulate the UID or save it, and then you can have actions occur with it. And it's completely open source software. I think it's also open source hardware.
Yeah, I have to double check.
Don't believe me on that.
I have to double check and see when I back this, and I'm going to try to get a hold of them, and I would love to stock this in the Adafruit store. If anyone out there from Flipper is watching, pt@adafruit.com. We'd love
Yeah.
to have this in the store.
So yeah, it's got a lot of functionality and capabilities, and I think it'll probably be available for purchase. I mean, we backed this many years ago,
Yeah.
and I think they were using, of course, a
I
whole
don't
bunch
remember when I backed this. It
well,
was like COVID time or something.
it was pre-COVID, I think, and
Maybe.
they probably got completely wrecked. Their schedule probably got wrecked by not being able to get parts
Yeah.
because all the stuff I don't know what's in here, but I'm betting it's a lot of ST and TI parts and NXP parts, all the parts you can't get.
Yeah.
So anyways, this is really cute. There's a lot of functionality, and I think you can also, like, of course, add more functionality. I think there will be, like, this looks like there's plugins. It's probably scriptable. A really cool thing. I'm always psyched when people make cool hardware because that's like part of the community. We're all making hardware together, and definitely with all the GPIO headers. Maybe someone will add a little I2T scanning script that could be kind of handy. I'd like that little portable I2T scanner. You plug in, power ground and then 2 pins, and it'll tell you whether it's detected. All sorts of other nifty things that I think it could do. So check out the Flipper Zero. I think that you can still pre-purchase it. I think the crowdfunding is over, but it probably will be available for purchase really soon. So that's from the mailbag.
Okay, what else?
Adorable little guy. Okay. Thank you, little dolphin. Okay, next up, it's Flippy Floppy time.
Speaking of Flipper,
Coincidentally.
tonight's theme is Flipper.
So let's go to the computer and I'll show off my my thing. So, the PCF85...
Oh, we got a sale going on our site, by the way.
Oh, by the way, there's a sale, 10% off Pi Day, because it's like Pi Day tomorrow. But it's all weekend, including today and tomorrow. So we have the PCF8523, which is one of our favorite little RTCs. This real-time clock is battery-backed. It's very cheap. It's really easy to use. It's supported by Linux. We really like it. Compared to the DS1307, which is kind of popular, this one is 3-volt friendly. So we use this a lot. And, you'll see we historically have used this with the SOIC part, and this is like a big ass crystal. So I couldn't get the SOIC part, but I did manage to get an order in for the HV SON part, right? A much smaller, like a 4mm by 4mm DFN-like package. This is, this part shortage is like not really ending. I'm still getting lead times into 2024. 2023, so it's not like you're going to be able to get parts. So stay smart, everybody. Stay sharp. Be flexible about what components you'll get. Definitely a great time for me to be doing desk Ladyadas and great searches, because it's going to be all about finding replacement parts. That's actually about half of my job right now is doing revisions and replacements, because so much stuff needs to be swapped out, and I want to keep as much stuff in stock right now. Like, there's about 50 products that are out of stock, and it's just hard to keep them in because, I cannot get B&O 055s. And not only that, but Bosch is like, we are not even taking back orders. Like, we won't even like pretend to tell you that we might have them one day. Like, that's over. So it's a lot about, what you can get and working within that. And that's why you've seen me do a lot of expressive parts lately, because I can get expressive chipsets and I can get like RP2040, but I can't get, SAMDs as easily. Okay, anyways. So I couldn't get the SOIC part, but I can get the HV SON part. And so, I redesigned this board, and because I think I'll probably use the HV SON, I'll probably get the SOIC version eventually again. And again, I have all those PCBs left over, but, still, I made this a flip-flop design. So I put the HV SON over here, the SOIC here, the outline is the same. I saved space by just making the crystal smaller, but I've got, I used to use this big chunky 32 kilohertz crystal, and now I use a smaller one. So, this, I actually just ordered this sight unseen. I just ordered a couple hundred PCBs, as is, and I think that'll help me get that product back in stock. So it's like each product that's out is because of some component, and it's just like each one is a different. For some it's like, let's find an equivalent part. For some it's like, let's find another package. For some it's like, let's discontinue or let's completely revise it. It's there isn't one solution for each thing. So That's one of the boards I revised this week. So if you're wondering, like, why isn't there as many new products? It's because I'm doing a lot of revisions, which take almost as much work as a new product. But it's mostly just to keep stuff in stock, which I think is important.
Okay, what else?
Any other questions?
No, keep going.
Okay. Next up, I've worked on the ESP32 Cutie Pie. So let's go back to the overhead and I'll show this off because I did get a couple of these. So we made a couple hundred, and what's interesting is that they did not pass test. The prototype passed test, but I had a lot of issues with, there's like one of those things where it's like, you can make 2 or 3 prototypes, the 2 or 3 prototypes work okay, and then once you make usually we do a run of about 250 for a new product, which is, because it's going to happen, like something can go wrong. Like I make 2 or 3, but, there can be something, very marginal that works in the prototypes but doesn't work in production. A resistor value, it's like I picked it and it turns out I have to actually tweak it. So the problem I'm having is during the test, which I didn't set up because I thought it would be a bit much. When I do the Wi-Fi scan, the ESP32 hangs, it halts. And at first I thought like, okay, this is a power supply issue because that's a really common thing with the ESP32. So I've been like, I'm doing the test while I'm probing the 3-volt line. It does seem to matter whether it's plugged into my computer or whether it's like, it's a little bit like, it's like a little Schrodinger. It's a little tough to find because if I run a Wi-Fi scan when it's plugged into my computer, it works, but then when I plug it into the Raspberry Pi, it doesn't. And I'm actually kind of wondering whether I think it might be that the Wi-Fi antenna, even though it's on the opposite side and, protected by a ground plane to the chip, I'm wondering if it's interfering with the crystal or the microcontroller, like that emitted RF. And it's tough to determine this. So right now what I'm, because again, it's like it just hangs. There's no error output. It just like stops working during the test procedure. So, I did a couple things. I tried to like move the antenna. I'm going to maybe try changing the Pi network to maybe like drop the gain a little bit in case that makes a difference. Like maybe, making the antenna a little less strong by adding some more, impedance in line. That'll make the range less good. What's interesting is that the ESP32 S2 and S3 have had absolutely no issue. Like it's basically the same design. But there's something about the ESP32 and I'm not seeing a 3-volt dip. So I don't know what it is yet. And I do have a lot of capacitance on the 3-volt line. And I tried like providing an extra, on the tester, I put a big capacitor on the 5-volt pin. I'll figure it out one way or the other. Another thing I could do is make a version of this with a UFL connector. Start by maybe just doing it by hand, make a couple, and then if you attach the antenna and the antenna is physically far away, does it pass test then? Because if it passes test then I know it's something about the antenna, not the power supply, but it's a bit of a challenge. So hopefully I'll figure out. Meanwhile, we did get the C3 out and all those passed test wonderfully. It could also be that there's something, in this ESP32, it could be something in the early Wi-Fi analog, front end stage that is extra sensitive. So, I don't know. But hopefully I'll figure out something because I'd really like to get this board out. And I know I'll figure out something. I just don't know what that is yet. So I have to spend a couple more hours on debugging. So I think that is everything I had on my to-do list, right?
All right.
Right? Do you want to check?
No, we're good.
Okay.
So do you want to do Great Search and then INMPI?
Let's do the Great Search first, and then, let's do INMPI.
Okay.
Where in the world is that part I need? The Great Search with DigiKey.
The Great Search brought to you by Adafruit and DigiKey. Every single week, Ladyada uses her power of engineering to find the most precious things in the world right now. Electronic parts. Okay, so we're going to go to digikey.com and try to find something this week. What are we going to try to find?
Okay, so here's what we're going to find. So, this part shortage is kind of unending.
I'm going to go to the computer.
Let's go to the computer, and I'm going to tell you a story.
Here's a story.
There's a story about a part I can't find. So I've actually, about a year ago, I ordered, a year's worth of components from ST Sensors. I've been ordering a year's worth at a time, usually instead of a quarter's worth, because it's been so tough to get parts. And some parts from ST I've been able to get, like I got LSM 60 SOXs and I got some, ISM 330s. But what happened is I often, what I've liked to do is I like to make a combo IMU where I take, a accelerometer gyro, I stick it with a magnetometer, because it's actually not that usual to get a 9 DOF in one. Usually don't get all accelerometer, gyro, magnetometer in one package. There's the LSM 9DS1, but like really good luck getting that one. It's basically you're never going to find it. It's pretty common to have them as separate chips. And then you fuse the data together and you get, XYZ orientation, which is cool. And like I said earlier, you're not going to get B&O 055s or 085s like anytime soon. Those are totally unobtainium. So I got the accelerometer gyroscopes. But what's interesting is I've totally not been able to get magnetometers. I did get some list 2 MDLs, but not the list 3 MDL. And the list 2 MDL is a plus minus 50 Gauss. And the list 3 MDL is a plus or minus, 16 Gauss, which is the same as 1.6 millitesla. So divide by 10 to get from Gauss to millitesla. And this is better because you want something that has, good 16-bit resolution and accuracy, because the Earth's magnetic field is much lighter than, a magnet that you have in your hand. And there's basically 2 kind of magnetometers. There's like the high-range magnetometers that are good for detecting magnets. And then there's the low-range sensitive magnetometers that are good for sensing the Earth's magnetic field. So the list 2 MDL is not a bad magnetometer for that, but I'm also a little worried I won't be able to get that chip as well. Other magnetometers I have, I either haven't been able to get or they're the high range type. So what I'm, I'm not sure I'm ever going to get the 3 MDLs again. I do have a big order in with ST, but it's just this, I think everyone's just totally crunched with this part shortage. So what I'm going to do on this great search is I'm going to find a high resolution, so like 12, 16, 18, 20 bit triple axis magnetometer that's I2C, because I want it to work, I want it to be compatible, maybe not pin compatible, but as functionally compatible as possible, so I can pair it. You see here I have the chip next to the IMU for a 9 DOF sensor. So let's go to DigiKey. And let's search for, so this is the part I'm looking for, the list 3 MDL. So let's just go there, because it's always good to, you start with the part you can't get, and sometimes it gives you ideas of how to find the part you can't get. So this is the part that, if you put in that you want some, it says, 2059. I don't think it's actually 2059. I think what they're just saying is we don't know when we're going to get the ability to make this. I think you need a particular kind of fabrication technology, which is super booked. So what we do want, so let's go down here and then we can use this to search. So we want a magneto-resistive active XYZ accelerometer, magnetometer, that's surface mount. I'm not going to specify the range, because I don't care if there's multiple ranges or one range. The voltage supply I'm not worried about. It's probably going to be 3 volts. Resolution, I don't want to be too picky. Package, I don't expect to get the same package, but I do want it to be, the minimum is it's a magnetoresistive active XYZ. So let's search. Also, I want it to be about the same cost. So the 3 MDL is, basically $1 or $2. So I want it to be about that price. I don't want to spend like $20 on this part. Okay, so output type. So this is the thing that I'm going to select first, because there's not a ton of options here, which is good. Actually, there's only 10. That's very small. So I think I want I2C and SPI only. So let's do that limitation. All these ranges are quite good. Remember, the list 3 MDL is 1.6 millitesla. I don't want it to be much bigger than that because I want it to be, again, used for earth sensing. So I don't want it more than like 5, but all these are quite good. All these cover 3.3 volts, which is what's important to me. You know, if it's lower, great, but that's all I care about. All of them have 16 plus resolution, so that's really good. So let's see what's available. So there is the ST ones. They're not in stock. I think let's look at only ones that are in stock right now. Okay, looks good. So we have a couple options here, actually, and they all look pretty good, to be honest. So there is from Memsic. There's a couple options from Rome. There is an option with a lot of pieces. But what I really liked is, when I was like, okay, well, I'm probably going to buy 3,000 of these because I'm going to use it in a lot of stuff. When I looked at the price of these Memsic ones was like very, very attractive. And I know Memsic makes, good components too. So this could be a good alternative. What I'll do is I'll probably make new versions of all those IMU plus magnetometer breakouts. And then when I can get the list 3 MDL, because there's people who have the code already in their design, we can always go back. But as long as I have libraries for all of them, I think people can switch pretty easily in case it's another year or two. So there's 2 options here. Both of them look really good. You're probably wondering, well, what's the difference between, the MMC 5603 and the MMC 5633? They're both very similar. Let's look at the MMC because I did pull up these data sheets. And I do this little trick where I kind of like scroll down and I try to get like the data sheets to kind of like be almost the same, and then I kind of flip between them to see if I can see what's different. And if you look down here, what's different, hold on, go down to applications. Oops. What's different is on this one, you see there's a, this one has a I3C interface in addition to an I2C interface. So that's basically what you're going to pay a little bit more for on the 5633. They're both actually pin compatible. They are not completely code compatible. The register map is a little bit different. But they are, this is, unfortunately, it's a BGA, it's a WLCSP with 0.4 millimeter pitch. But if it only has 4 pins, I'm not as nervous about it because I don't have to do a fan out. 4 pins, I mean, I can just bring the pins out from each corner. When something has 9 pins, there's always a pin in the middle, and that can be tough to get out. But with 4 pins, even if it's fine pitch, I'm not as nervous about it. So this one is a really good option. So I think I'm going to start, and also I really like that there's 77,000 in stock. I'm probably going to start with, making a Stemma QT breakout for this MMC 5603 so I can get Arduino and CircuitPython and Python library code going for it. And then, if that's good, I'll, just connect it up with an IMU and stack them one on top of each other, and then try twisting and turning it with our Fusion code and just make sure that it works fine with that. And if it does, I'll make new breakouts and just tell folks hey, if you're waiting for this 9DOF that has the list 3 MDL and you don't want to wait, because the magnetometer is not an important part of an IMU. You want a good one, but it's not the thing that really affects the quality of an IMU. The thing that really affects it is the gyro. That's what's important. And so matching, as long as the gyro is good, as long as you match it with anything that's a kind of reasonable magnetometer, you're going to get good data. So this one looks good if you're in the market for a magnetometer and you can't get one because you can't get one. This one's cheap and available, and it's not hand solderable, but it should be pretty easy to work into your pick and place manufacturing setup.
That's great, Church.
Where in the world is that part I need? The great search with DigiKey.
Okay, next up, we're going to do this week's Ion MPI. We had a really big show on Thursday. We moved our Ask an Engineer show from Wednesday to Thursday. Thursday, we had a bunch of stuff going on. So today, we're going to be doing Ion MPI as a special treat for Disc of Ladyada viewers. Are you ready?
Triple decker. Let's do it.
On MPI.
This week's Ion MPI is from Borns.
This is actually the first time we've done a Borns Ion NPI, which is surprising to me. I didn't realize that we've never covered them. We do stock their rotary encoders, so I'm excited to bring out a new and fabulous rotary encoder from Borns. This one's going to blow your mind. Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a dual concentric rotary encoder. This is funky. So you're probably used to normal rotary encoders that have like one rotating thing. This has two rotating things, but on one shaft. So this could be like pretty handy if you need like a tight space fit user interface that has a lot of control, because you can rotate two different rings and also press the button. So this is called the PEC 11D. If you are familiar with the PEC series, which you probably are, they are kind of the most famous rotary encoders. I don't know if Borns invented them, but they pretty much made them usable. Like their standard shape for rotary encoders is what everybody uses. In fact, we stock a rotary encoder from Borns, the PEC 11 or PEC 12, and this comes with a knob, but this one is only a single rotary encoder. It rotates once and there's a push button, but that, I don't know, like that's not super cool. There's also we have other kinds of rotary encoders, like this like iPod click type. Basically whenever you want something to rotate all the way around, rotary encoders, and especially if you want also a button, I really like them. They're one of my favorite user interface types. I think potentiometers are cool, but rotary encoders can have a very elegant feel to them. If you have an oscilloscope, there's tons of rotary encoders on it. Medical equipment, cars, stereo systems, whatever. Anything that has adjustments on it tends to have a rotary encoder. But let's say you need more than one rotary encoder. Well, you can wire up multiples next to each other. That's possible. Here's like a demo where I have 3 rotary encoders wired up, with Stemma QT ports, but you can have them next to each other. But let's say you want fine and coarse, adjustment capabilities, and sometimes you can use like the knob to select whether you want fine or coarse, but maybe the knob is also used for something else. Or maybe you want, like, there's just 2 elements that you want to change. I could see like one ring being for bass and one for treble, but you want it to be in one knob. Well, the party is here and it's rocking thanks to the 11D. So you can see there's the shaft. That's one encoder, and then the brassy thing is a second encoder. And then you can also press it to there's a D10 button inside. I will say that you do need a custom knob for this, obviously, because you want to have like the outer ring kind of latch onto that little divot there in the brass knob. There's like a little slot, and you want to, whatever knob you design, there's 2 slots, one each side. You want your knob to slot into that to grab in, so you can have both rotate separately. This doesn't come with a knob, but if you're designing this into your product, chances are you're going to do injection molding anyways. So I thought I'd show a quick demo, and then we would show that it's in stock. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so this is the PEC 11D, and you can see I've got it wired up to a feather with a little OLED. I didn't wire up the buttons, so you're just going to have to believe me. I wanted to just show the rotary encoder, but you can press it, and it is a tactile switch. So it goes up and down. There is 15 D10ths per rotation. And then if I grab this outer part and I rotate it, it rotates totally separately from the inner part. So dual concentric rotary encoders, very neat. But it works just like a rotary encoder you expect. I just coded up with an Arduino demo, had the OLED going out. It took me like only 15 minutes to put this together, because it's like a standard rotary encoder, one on this side and one on that side.
All right. And on DigiKey, 80 in stock right now. Get them while you can.
That's right. They are in stock. You can actually get these. These are really funky. I've never seen dual rotary encoders before. I don't know when I'd use them, but like if you need this, this is exactly like this can totally solve a problem that you have. So yeah, check it out.
Hard on NPI.
All right. Going to do a couple quick questions.
Yeah, hit me.
The first question that came in was, any thoughts on a guitar amp modeling with a plug-in DSP?
You can. There's been a couple people who've done, guitar pedals, like, programmable guitar pedals with DSPs. It's like right now you can't really get DSPs. So, I mean, good luck. But I think there's definitely people who've done them. So, it's going to be probably $100 or more. Really nice guitar pedals probably already have them too. If possible. But check it out. I've never built a guitar pedal. I don't use them, but I know that there's people who've made customizable ones.
I can answer this next one. Folks are looking for Raspberry Pis because there's a worldwide shortage. Here's what you should do. Make sure you have a verified account on Adafruit.com and you've turned on two-factor authentication because we are making sure that there's no bots that are going in, buying them up, and then people are selling them on eBay. We don't change the price of them. People try to buy them from us and then add like $100 onto it and then sell them on eBay. We don't like that. So we're doing everything we can to stop that. We got pretty good strategy. We review the orders with our team now as well. But that's the best bet. And we're not going to do price inflation on them. A couple people in the chat said they use the notify feature. That's what you do. You get an email.
Yes, we will email you, but have your account ready beforehand because even with authenticated accounts, they do go fast.
Yeah.
And we're trying very, very hard to stop bots
Okay.
and resellers. It's tough because, we don't want to question every order and like interrogate people. But we're also looking for, obvious duplicates and stuff. And
there's some that are like Bob's eBay.
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
And they do it 3 times or 4 times in a row.
Yeah,
Like,
so we limit one per customer, and if you're reselling them on eBay and we see your store, we're just going to ask you not to do that. It's not fair to everybody else. Okay. NYC Kid says, I'm finally at the point where I should have an oscilloscope and I can justify the cost. What are your recommendations?
A Regal is pretty inexpensive, and I think it's fine. I would definitely get a benchtop one. I don't recommend a USB one. One with a TFT screen is recommended. I think it's really hard to use the USB types.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, folks, appreciate the Pi fighting bots. Yeah, like we're not against cool scripts and people using all these neat web tools to do neat things. But there's some educators that they just need to buy one Raspberry Pi, and it's not fair if someone's coming in trying to buy 50.
Yeah. That said, I don't know when the shortage will end. So please be aware if you have we have folks who contact us and they're like, I have this company or this startup and I desperately need 300 Pi 4s. I'm gonna tell them, look, do not. When they say hold your breath, literally don't hold your breath.
Yeah, it's not fun saying no, but the answer.
I really do not.
No,
I can't hold them. I don't have a secret stash of them. I don't have any.
Yeah.
I don't have any way to get more. Believe me, if they have them, they're in the store.
Okay. That is our show for this week. Thank you so much, Lady. Thank you, everyone in the community and all the customers and all of our team members. We very much appreciate it. We'll see everybody during the week for a full week of shows and more. That is the Desk of Ladyada.
Bye, everybody.